Have you ever wondered, if Jesus looked into your heart right now, what would he see? Not just your actions, not what people think about you, but what's really inside. The thoughts you keep to yourself, the things you desire most, the pain you hide. Sometimes we try so hard to change our behavior. We try to speak better, act better, look like we have it all together. But Jesus cares more about your heart, because that's where everything begins. The Bible says in Proverbs 4:23, "Guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it." So the question is, what's flowing out of your heart today? Why the heart matters most. We live in a world that focuses on the outside, how we perform, how we look, what we achieve. But Jesus, he looks deeper. He doesn't just see what we do. He sees why we do it. You can go to church every week. You can say the right words, do the right things. But if your heart isn't right, none of it means anything to him, because the heart is where your true life begins. It's the root of your choices, your reactions, your desires. Jesus didn't teach about the heart to shame us. He taught about it to heal us, to help us live from the inside out, to restore us at the deepest level. And today, we're going to explore 5 powerful lessons Jesus gave us about the heart, not just to understand them, but to learn how to live them every single day. 1. The heart determines your true identity. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Jesus once said something that goes far deeper than we often realize. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. He didn't say your actions define you. He didn't say your success, your reputation, or how good you seem to others. He said, your heart. Because what fills your heart will always find a way out. It may not show up in every conversation, but it comes through in your tone, your reactions, your silence. In those unguarded moments, when you're tired, overwhelmed, or hurting, your heart speaks. And it tells the truth. You can be kind with your words, but if your heart is full of anger, it will show in how quickly you snap. You can be generous with your time, but if your heart is filled with fear of rejection, you'll still feel unseen. You can smile on the outside, but carry shame on the inside that no one else knows about. That's why Jesus always went deeper. He never praised people just for looking holy. He was drawn to those who were honest about what lived inside them. Because Jesus didn't come for the image. He came for the heart. And the truth is, your heart is where your true identity lives. Not the you that shows up on social media. Not the you that says, "I'm fine," when your world is falling apart. But the quiet you, the one you bring to bed at night, the one God sees fully, completely, and still chooses to love. You might be able to hide from others, but you don't have to hide from him. He already knows. And he's not shocked. He's not angry. He's waiting to help you see what's really there and to heal it. That's where the transformation begins. Not by trying harder to be better, but by letting Jesus show you what's truly filling your heart and allowing him to change it from the inside out. So take a quiet moment today. Close your eyes and ask, "Lord, what's really been living in my heart?" And then listen. Not to judge, not to run, just to see. Because what's in your heart is already shaping your life. If you want to live with more peace, more love, more strength, don't start by fixing your behavior. Start by surrendering your heart, because that is what Jesus sees first. And that is where the real you begins. 2. What defiles you comes from within. Out of the heart come evil thoughts. Most people think what ruins their life comes from the outside. A difficult person, a toxic relationship, a stressful job, a painful past. But Jesus tells us something completely different. He says the real danger comes from within. In Matthew 15:19, he says, "Out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander. And then he adds, these are what defile a person. It's not what touches your skin, not what people say to you, not what you eat or wear or experience. It's what lives in your heart and stays there, quietly shaping your life. Jesus knew that most of our problems start small, a hidden thought, a little jealousy, an old wound we never healed, a grudge we keep secretly, and over time, these things pile up. They begin to change how we see the world, how we speak, how we treat others, how we feel when no one's around. That's why you might overreact to something small. That's why your heart sometimes feels heavy, even when life looks fine. It's not random. It's not about others. It's your heart speaking up. Jesus doesn't say this to make you feel guilty. He says it to help you look in the right place, because you won't find real peace by fixing everyone else. You'll find it when you let him heal you from the inside out. So next time you feel angry or anxious or deeply hurt, pause for just a moment. Take a breath, and instead of asking, why are they doing this to me? Ask, what is this showing me about my heart? Maybe there's still pain you haven't talked about. Maybe there's a fear you've been carrying quietly. Maybe there's a lie you believed long ago, and now it's shaped how you protect yourself. And here's the good news. Jesus sees it all. He's not shocked. He's not walking away. He came to clean the inside, to wash what's been hidden, to heal what's been buried for too long. And when he starts working in your heart, you won't have to force yourself to act better. Your words will soften. Your responses will change. Your life will shift naturally. Not because the world became easier, but because your heart became cleaner. So today, don't run from the pain. Bring it to Jesus. He already knows, and he wants to make your heart whole again. 3. Clean hands are nothing without a pure heart. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. It's easy to look spiritual, to say the right words, to pray out loud, to raise your hands, to smile and say, God bless you, at the right moments. But Jesus sees deeper than all of that. In Matthew 15:8, he speaks to something many people miss. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. You can have clean hands, but if your heart is far away, it doesn't matter. You can be active in church. You can serve people. You can lead worship, teach, give, encourage, and still be disconnected on the inside, going through the motions, doing what looks right, but feeling empty. And sometimes that emptiness doesn't come from sin. It comes from not being honest, not with others, but with God. We show up to pray, but we don't show up as ourselves. We bring the version of us that's polished, calm, Christian. But God doesn't want a performance. He wants your presence, the real you. Even if you're angry, even if you're confused, even if your faith feels weak, Jesus never asked for perfect hearts. He asked for pure ones. And purity doesn't mean flawless. It means honest, open, sincere. So what do you do when your heart feels far? Start by being quiet. Before you say a word in prayer, pause. Take a minute. Not to feel holy, but to be real. Close your eyes and say, God, I'm here, and this is where I really am today. No pretending. No pretending to trust if you're afraid. No pretending to love if you're numb. No pretending to worship if your heart is distracted. That's the heart Jesus can work with. Not the fake one. Not the version you think he wants, but the one that's honest, broken, and still willing to come close. He's not disappointed in your weakness. He's not tired of your questions. He's just waiting for your heart to return. Because he doesn't need your words. He doesn't need your effort. He wants you. And when your heart is real, even if it's tired, messy, or unsure, that's when your worship becomes true. Not just something you say, but something that flows from the center of who you are. So next time you pray, Don't rush into the words. Sit in silence first. Let your heart speak. Let it return to the one who always welcomes it, because clean hands are nothing without a heart that's close. 4. The heart must be guarded above all else. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. There are so many things in life we try to protect. We protect our phones with passwords, our homes with locks, our money with banks, even our time with planners and to-do lists. But God says, above everything else, guard your heart, because your heart is where your life begins. Every choice, every response, every dream, every regret, it all flows from one place, your heart. And the truth is, your heart is open more often than you think. You don't need to leave your door unlocked for someone to enter. You just need to scroll, or listen to the wrong voice for too long, or carry around the wrong story about yourself. Little by little, things slip in. Fear, doubt, jealousy, anger, shame, and suddenly you wonder why you feel so heavy, so easily irritated, so distant from God. But it didn't start with something big. It started with what you allowed in. That's why God says, guard it. Not just protect it from people who hurt you, but be careful what feeds you, what you listen to before bed, what you read when you're alone, what you believe about yourself after a mistake. Because not everything that reaches your heart deserves to stay there. You are not just a mind. You are not just a body. You are a soul, a living, feeling, breathing soul. And your heart is the center of it. When your heart is filled with peace, your words are softer. Your reactions are slower. Your thoughts are clearer. But when your heart is full of noise, confusion, comparison, it spills into every part of your life. So today, take time to check what's been getting in. Ask yourself, who have I been listening to? What voices have I let shape how I feel? What kind of content have I been feeding my heart with? If it's not bringing peace, if it's not building you up, if it's not pulling you closer to God, it doesn't belong there. And guarding your heart doesn't mean closing it off. It means choosing wisely, filtering what you allow in, letting God be the gatekeeper. It means whispering, Lord, show me what to keep and what to let go. Because your heart is not just a place for emotions, it's a place for God to dwell. And He longs to fill it with His love, His truth, and His peace. So before you go out to face the world, before you check your phone, before you open up to someone, pause and guard what matters most. Because everything you do, everything you say, everything you become will flow from there. 5. A transformed life begins with a transformed heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Everyone wants to change something about their life. We want to be more disciplined, more loving, more peaceful, more confident. We try new habits, we read books, we make promises to ourselves. But somehow, the change doesn't last. Why? Because true transformation doesn't begin with your behavior. It begins with your heart. Jesus said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." He didn't say, "Blessed are the perfect." He didn't say, "Blessed are the ones who always get it right." He said, "Those with a heart that's clean, honest, and open." They are the ones who truly experience God. Because when your heart is clear, you can finally see, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. You see what really matters. You see yourself with grace. You see others with compassion. You see God, not as a distant rule keeper, but as a loving Father who's been near all along. But this kind of heart doesn't just appear overnight. It's formed in quiet moments. When no one's around, when you stop trying to impress and start being honest. When you say, "Lord, I want more than a new routine. I want a new heart." And that prayer, as simple as it sounds, changes everything. Because when your heart begins to shift, so do your thoughts. You stop being so hard on yourself. You stop carrying shame that God never asked you to carry. You begin to speak with more kindness. You begin to forgive more quickly. You become slower to judge, quicker to love. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're being transformed from the inside out. That's the power of a renewed heart. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. So tomorrow morning, before the noise begins, before the world demands your attention, pause for just a minute and whisper a simple prayer. Jesus, renew my heart today. Make me more like you. Change the way I think. Change the way I speak. Let what flows from my heart be full of love, truth, and peace. That's not weakness. That's strength. Because the bravest thing you can ever do is give your heart back to the one who created it. And when he holds it, everything begins to change. Not just your life on the outside, but your soul from the inside. And that, more than anything, is the kind of transformation that lasts. Real change starts where God looks first, the heart. Sometimes we try so hard to change. We try to fix our habits, control our words, look like we have it all together. But God isn't looking for people who have it all figured out. He's looking for people who are honest. People who are willing to say, Lord, I don't want to just look right. I want to be right with you. Because real change doesn't start with trying harder. It starts with giving God access to the part of you that no one else sees, your heart. You can say all the right things. You can do all the right things. But if your heart is far, none of it brings life. The Bible says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And Jesus said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That's where you meet him, not through perfection, but through presence, through a heart that says, Jesus, here I am. This is me. This is where I really am today. And that's enough. That's where the journey begins. So if this message spoke to something inside you, don't ignore it. That quiet stirring, that soft ache. It might be God calling your heart home again. Take a minute after this video. No fancy words. Just a whisper. God, make my heart new. Let him start there. And from that place, you'll see everything else begin to change. Your next step, if this video touched your heart and you're ready to go deeper, to let God gently heal what's been hidden inside, then don't stop here. Watch the next video. How Jesus heals the hidden wounds of the heart. There, we'll walk together through the quiet places and discover how God doesn't just see the pain. He knows how to restore it. Your heart matters, and he's not done with your story yet.